Before we start the video, I want you to subscribe to the best Telegram channel at the first link in the description, where we show our earnings on cryptocurrencies, and not only. Our capital that we manage is more than $3 million. Thanks for subscribing. Also in the description is a links to verified exchangers when you register, on which you get a welcome bonus from me. Let's get to the video. Greetings friends, you are on the Cryptanic channel. And today we're going to talk about whether going to 19,000 is a trap, and what happens next. Subscribe to my Telegram channel with my deals and news, the link to which is in the description to this video. As I said in my previous videos, I was a little short of 19,500. I got knocked out by my stop in the 17,100 range, and I didn't take either the short or the long from there. Basically, there are two scenarios for getting out of that small retracement. The first scenario is when we go below to the key volume and the volume of this whole pro trade, 16,500, and from there we turn around to the 18,100 range. Exactly from 18,100 to 18,300, there is a certain volume level from which you can already dial in your short. Because if you look at the volumes, which are here, we see that after the volume level of 16,500, there is this volumetric level of pro trading in the range of 16,900 and 17,300, and there is nothing after it, except for the volumetric small level of 18,100 and 18,300. And if we go through the 18,100 range in the first scenario, then we can probably pierce the level of 19,100. But it is such a strong resistance that we will not break it, and I will explain why later on. Because there are a lot of factors that suggest that this could be what we call a New Year's Eve rise. And we could, in fact, fly through this whole area and make, if we get our long from 16,500, 10 to 12% on Bitcoin. And if we collapse the 19,100 level, we could make all 15% of the net profit, no leverage, on Bitcoin. And that will be the New Year's rally, which everyone was waiting for. The second, no less important scenario is the one where we go from this pro trade on Bitcoin down to volume, to the 16,500 level and pierce it, and go into a range of, for example, 16,100 to 16,200. We make some kind of a bargain here, and then we fix at the time frame under the 16,500 level. At some point we test the 16,500 level, and then from this level, we go lower, exactly to the 13,800 level that I told you about. The very strong subsequent volume level from which there will also be some reaction, where I will be closing my short. The shorts, which I will take, either by the second scenario at 16,500, after the 4-hour candlesticks consolidate under the level of 16,500 and then test it, or the short I would gain in the first scenario, in the 18,100 range, or else collapsing the 19,100 level. Basically, those are the two scenarios for the next month. And one of those scenarios is definitely going to be the fundamental one. And it is these scenarios that Bitcoin will move in. I will explain why, even in the first scenario, we will not go higher than 19,100. If you look at the volumes that are here, though, this is the strongest level of this whole pro trade that we've been trading in since June. The strongest, most voluminous level, and you can see that. And immediately, this strong level is not going to be so easy to break through, let alone even collapse. We will pass this level on very serious positive news, or on some enormous volumes. In my opinion, we are not going to break above the 19,100 level. So, these are the two scenarios you have to consider. Why else don't I see the logic of us going out and getting in a rocket that will carry us to $2,500 to $3,000? And it's simple. You have to look at the dollar index and the S&P 500 index. As you know, and this, pure truth, I said back in the spring of this year, if you watch my old videos, that even with the dead cat rollback that we essentially reproduced from 3,600 to 4,300, we would still fall to the 3,100 and 3,300 levels sooner or later. In fact, As I told you in previous videos, the 4,000 level has become very strong resistance for us. But I don't deny the point that we are still in terms of a New Year's rally. We could go into the 4,200 and 4,150 range. And, in fact, in that level, when we get there, before the new year, we can gain some short on the S&P 500 index. Because there's no positivity in the S&P 500 index. And the managers, who are now closing out their year, are just dragging the index in order to make money. There are simply no factors that will, in fact, carry the index above 4,300. If you look at inflation in the USA, how much money people are spending now to provide for life, how much people are spending to provide for their shelter, their housing, their food basket, we all know that if you look at USA, and USA is a foundational country for all financial markets, that in USA, with such a strong economy, people have started spending unimaginably more money on their housing and food. As I told you, the stock market is going to slam further. Generally speaking, by fundamental on-chain metrics, the S&P 500 should fall to the 2,600, 2,500 level. But even a level of 3,200, 3,300, to me, seems somehow fantastically low for the S&P 500 index and the companies that are represented in that index. What's another interesting thing to be clear about is the USA dollar index, the DXY index. You can clearly see that on the daily time frame we have already made a correction on the index, about 9%, and now, after such an essentially deep correction on the index, I do not expect a rebound, but a continued rise on the dollar index. Because we have a definite, good divergence on the 4-hour time frame, the next mark I would expect for the dollar index is the 110 level. Even if, for some specific reason, we increase that divergence and roll down to about the 104 range, I still, by the end of the year, expect the dollar index to hike to the 110 mark. That would be inherently correct and send the same S&P 500 index on its further correction into the 32,003,300 area. If the dollar index goes to the coveted 104 points, then Bitcoin, in my opinion, will go for the first scenario, going to the 18,100 range, then we'll call 19,100, or, without a call, we'll fix at 18,100 and then go for its long-awaited track down to 13,800. In the meantime, the S&P 500 will fall to its cherished 32,003,300. If we talk about some other strong asset, for example, Ethereum, because it follows Bitcoin in my list of top assets. I do not observe any particular trading structure on Ethereum at the moment, because there was no test of the 1,112-1,120 range, because that is the volume level that is the strongest in this pro trade. Many people are saying that, in fact, there was a test of that level, 1,138, but I don't agree with those people. That test wasn't there, and on the 4-hour time frame, we now have a good enough divergence for just a hike into the 12,171,220 range. If, in fact, the scenario plays out that way and we fall from those marks to that range, then the same scenario arises here as we did on Bitcoin. If we don't pierce that level, but just call it, then we can go long to the $1,450 to $1,500 range, depending on how Ether will call those levels. If we go below 12,100 and 1,215 from these levels and fix on the 4-hour time frame under this level and for our candlesticks, in fact, we create such pro trading, then this is the level you can take Ethereum in short, until the biggest level, 10,871,090, from where you will already need to watch the reaction. So, my friends, I know how hard it is to trade daily for our patterns, because the hardest thing for a person is to wait. The hardest thing is to wait for the drawdown, or to see 100,200 profit on futures, or even on spot, to have some 1,520, and to wait for the cherished ones. But you have to learn one thing. To lose on risk management is normal, and the amounts you lose from your deposit should not hit your psyche hard. 2. You have to learn to be patient and not take profits from your profitable trade right away, because it doesn't make any sense if you take your 23% with the potential for a 20, 30, or 40% profit. You have to learn patience. So, as usual, I wish you to own information, because whoever owns information and knowledge owns the world. With you was the Cryptanic channel. See you soon.